All right, let's get into the great earthquake of seal number 6, because right now you are in the 5th seal with the altar of souls and that little season. Okay, so that great earthquake is very close. And these times coming up, these final 4, is when the nation is going to be rocked. The American dream people have been asleep in, they're going to wake up into the American nightmare. And this is part of that primary and that dividing of a nation through the bowels, through the ballots, through that crapture and these things that's coming on. And that bricks is coming onto the earth to knock people out and put them to sleep, in a matter of speaking, as that flood is replaying on this earth, and everything is corrupt, everything is too expensive, nothing can be afforded. So there's different plays on reality. The new heaven and earth are breaking open, and as it breaks open, as the Christ is here on earth and gathering all men, that Spirit is going to lay out judgment. And the light has been the God is light. And unfortunately, God is being taught this, that, and the other to brainwash, to blind. And the law and the church and all these things, they're teaching this, that, and the other to blind. And I understand these things may be hard to understand, but Jesus and the prophets are there to go against the pastors of the Old Testament, the Pharisees of the New Testament, the pastors of today. Okay? And the millennial kingdom, the millennium, the information technology, the teach knowledge tree, that apple that we have bitten from, that give us knowledge to teach us and show us good from evil, and all these things to come out of that garden of hell that's been provided as heaven. All right? So there's many things. So I was a little bit ahead on the time, the Revelation 22 to the alphabet on 26 and those things. That 22 is on the 9/11 mark, and we're in that summertime coming up, and where we've already seen that panhandle, that Texas getting hot, that stove. So I've told you back then, expect big fires to come that they can't put out in these things. And this is going to help provide that smoke screen and that big chief, that smoke signals to let the pilgrims and Indians know about all the other stuff that's coming, all right? So in order to understand and comprehend what y'all have missed, we got to go back to chapter 4, verse 1, okay? Because in there it says, "And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me." So each person is reading this book by themselves. And they're reading this, talking with me. So it's inside of you. You hear this trumpet. And this is when I heard trumpets. And I looked at my wife and I said, holy shit, that's the trumpet sounding. You hear that? I said, yeah, I hear it. And then when the crown was given, the corona crown was shined up, and that bow or that bow was given, and the world shut down pretty much overnight, I looked at my wife and said, this is it. This is it. And 2020 visions and dreams coming on all around the same time. I knew there was going to be a bomb or earthquake for 2020 Christmas. I didn't know which one, but I knew it was going to be one, and it ended up happening in Nashville. And then my whole world got turned upside down after that. All right? And my wife's, and my children's, all in a manner of speaking. And all the things, I'm going to come out and tell more of my story, but all the things as far as the last 7 years of my life and whatever, has all been tribulation as far as the carnal And it's been, the spiritual's obviously there, but it's had to be where it's kind of been broken off, okay? And I'll get into more of these things to tell our story. But either way, so these trumpets sounded, okay? And this happened after the abomination of the dissolution and the first one, when the sun went dark, and then the dawn, that light, had blasphemies and yous coming out. And then you had the woman cloaked in the sun in 2017 in the sky, and that marked the start of the tribulation. And then the middle of that, you had the corona crown polish up, the forbidden fruit come in. That's the false prophet. He is having everybody come into the pit after the Abaddon opened the pit in the abomination. He brought the pit. So all those stacks, because there's 4 kings, and these 4 kings are coming to take out the old and bring in the new. So this is where you would have Obama, Trump, Biden, and then the 4th king, probably Elon Musk. I don't know if he's going to be president or however they work the 4th king, but Elon Musk is tied to the 4th king. The 4th king has his buddies as well, Trump and the Satan and whatever, but they're working multiple fronts as one king, as one pyramid. But Elon Musk is also, and Trump also, is connected to the other pyramid, the new mountain that's forming for the new heaven and earth, okay? But Trump is testing the old. So as he's testing the old, he's bringing in the old in one way, okay? So this is where Elon, he's coming in to test the millennials. Harry, he's coming in to test the millennials. Jake Paul, he'll be coming in to test the millennials. This is where you get the worship of his name and number and his mark. Okay, so we'll be breaking the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. That's on 7/20/24, that fight in Dallas, ATT. Thing that I've told you about, that marks the end of the 42 months on the long count on the false prophet, and also marks the end of the 70 weeks of Daniel, and 1 year full on the 70 weeks of Daniel is 3/18, the day after St. Patty's Day, that green day, and we saw the green day transfer on 1/1, on a couple different fronts that I showed y'all, but there's even more that I can't track. But either way, y'all, so all these things are there. But 2/16, the day of the Lord, that's where you have him being birthed under the eclipse as well. That dark sun with the Fannie Mae and the Latitia, that's the ass, the donkey, and the that's part of another bad key that he's got. So and that's also that fan for that wind and that destroying wind and all those things. Okay, so the trumpet sounded of chapter 4 verse 1, all right? And then the white horse rider, all right? And then it talks about the 4 and 20 elders. The 4 and 20 elders ties to the 4 and 20, the 420, the Most High, and Jesus was the Most High. And this is where there's been a test of men, because we see the old America. There's 2 old Americas, right? There's the one before 1920 or 30 or whatever, when they came and made plants illegal and this and whatever illegal. And that's when the church started coming. That's the devil's weed. That's devil's lettuce and whatever. The devil led us. All right? They're telling you the devil led us. It's not the devil's lettuce. You're the devil's lettuce. So that's why Jesus called Peter Satan. The same scripture, he told him that he would build a church, and then Peter and Paul, they came and created a spiritual law for that inward Jew, so you can seek salvation and try and live like a fucking robot. I do not sin, I do not sin, I do not sin. Whatever that means. when you're always sinning. You're always under the law. And there's a carnal law of the Jew, and there's a spiritual law of the Greek. And the spiritual law has a law within itself. And that's where we see like the golden ratio and shit like that. So as a spiritual person, you still have rules. This is kind of like in the Spaceman that just came out. Skinny human. You have a lot of rules for you not to have any rules. Okay? Because you got to take care of your temple. While there's no rules, there's rules to life. Go live your life, but there's rules to life. But that of the spirit does not align with that of the carnal necessarily. All right? And this is where we just let people live their lives. We cannot make rules and laws and stuff like Jesus told them. Moses lifted the serpent. Moses created the law out of his own heart. Because you're not understanding who God is. We're all the sons of God. So once you understand that we are the sons of God, and Moses is talking to God because he's the sons of God and he's lifting up the hardness in his own heart, he's creating this law, then you understand how Paul, the Pharisee who used to kill Christians, he's coming in and he's creating a new spiritual law. He saw Jesus. He's a Pharisee. He's going to come in and kill Christians and give them a spiritual death. The carnal death was in Eden. That first hell on earth where you're living in bondage, where you're living in death and division. And that's what they have upon us now. And that's what they had in one part of our society and whatever. But we had a different type of heaven back then, right? So it's just a merge of these things coming together. And now it's been a test of all these things after. And now the veil's being lifted. The window in heaven is open. The man's being gathered into one body through the Christ, through all people. Okay? Then we can go into this new time frame. All right? We're going to end it here just because of time. And then we're going to do the part 2.